Right. Okay, so I'm William McKee. I'm an associate consultant with Taylor Clarke. I'm here with Gordon Laird, also an associate of Taylor Clarke. Coaching has really been on our minds recently, and I thought this would be a brilliant opportunity to really sort of pick the brains of one of Taylor Clarke's most experienced coaches. So Gordon, if you wouldn't mind just saying a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Thanks, William. Lovely to see you. I've been with Taylor Clarke for a couple of years as an associate. I do a lot of executive coaching, leadership development, facilitation, and some consultancy, particularly around HR and OD. I also have a career as a psychotherapist as well, in addition to the work that I do with Taylor Clarke.
Okay, so I guess there's a lot of stuff going on, LinkedIn and the internet just now, a lot of content, a lot of stuff around coaching actually. And in order to provide a slightly different take, I guess the question that I'd like to explore with you is what's an area of coaching that maybe doesn't get talked about so much, or you maybe have maybe not a controversial opinion on, but just something that is a little bit different from the usual, here's the benefits of coaching, here's why it's great. Maybe something we could explore for a few minutes.
Interesting question. I think one of the things that's kind of caught my interest the last couple of years is kind of twofold, really. One is, if you go into any coaching skills training, they'll talk about the importance of coaching goals. Yeah. And I think goals are really important. But sometimes, I guess, through my experience of being a coach, the idea of having a goal and being able to articulate it clearly can be a bit elusive for some of the people that I work with. And linked to that, I guess I'm interested in how we use relationship to help people unpack what it is they really want to work on and the kind of core importance of relationship. So again, on a lot of coaching skills programs, they'll talk about rapport building, active listening, and they're all really, really important things. But again, I find with my work, it can go even beyond that in terms of building up a really depth of relationship that enables that person that I'm working with to talk fully, experientially about something that's really important to them that they're trying to improve or change as a leader or a manager in an organization.
I'm sure I've read, I'll see if I can dig it out, but I'm sure there's a piece of research that they looked at the most important aspects of coaching and the relationship was the top one. And it was almost any coaching method, the method doesn't really matter so much to the relationship that the coachee has with the coach. And goals as well. I really like what you're saying there, because yes, absolutely, coaching 101 is establish a goal and then help the person move towards it. So tell me more about that then. If the goal is unclear, it sounds like in my ears is then build up the relationship. What would that, for someone maybe that hasn't had coaching, hasn't what does relationship mean?
Yeah, it's that I think is an important question. So I think people will come into coaching for a variety of reasons, and if I maybe start with talking about goals just briefly first, I think often there can be pressure on people to have a well-articulated goal because they've maybe got 6 sessions. There's a kind of expectation within the organisation which is paying for the coaching that you're able to say what the goal is so that can be measured at some point and we can decide whether it was worthwhile or not. Of course, the human experience of that, I think, is sometimes different. And what I mean by that is that I've often heard it described by some of my clients as it's a bit like an itch that needed scratched. There was something that they wanted to do some work on. They maybe aren't even able to articulate it fully. So, for example, a lot of my work is maybe around things like a relationship that somebody had, a difficult relationship that somebody has with a team or with an individual in their workplace. Or it might be about transitions in some way. So people asking themselves really quite important questions about what they do next, whether they do anything next. So quite big questions for people, and they can maybe articulate it quite generally, but ask them to put that in a nice SMART goal. It's not easy. And in a way, you have to go through the coaching and almost be able to define the goal once you've got there. And I think because that means working with uncertainty, and let's remember, a lot of people we work with in coaching, they're used to being seen as the leader, as the person who knows what's going on, who is supposed to be able to have answers to the questions. So showing the vulnerability of not knowing can be tough for some people. And therefore, to be in a relationship with a coach who you trust and you feel is working with you kind of shoulder to shoulder to explore something that maybe is a little bit uncertain or unsure, has some vulnerability in it, is maybe the kind of conversation that you can't have with anyone else in the organisation because it has some sensitivity around it. The relationship, therefore, is central to that, to enabling that to happen.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, because I mean, some things are so big that you can't just articulate, okay, this is where I want to go, help me get there. And it is about that kind of, there's a feeling, there's something not quite right, there's somewhere I need to go to, but that's about as much as I know right now. That's really interesting. So in terms of the relationship then, I'm hearing there's something around confidentiality, trust. I think what you said around shoulder to shoulder. What does that mean for you? What does that mean?
I think it means, I think first of all, I guess one of the challenges like being an external coach is getting inside the world of the person that you're coaching. So I think part of it is, once the rapport is established, the trust is established, you've got some good boundaries around the conversations. So all that important fundamental stuff, confidentiality being one of those important boundaries, of course, is that you start to build an understanding as a coach of what's the system this person is operating in. What's the world they operate in? What is complex about it? What are they trying to achieve? What are the things that are doubts for them, uncertainties for them, and taking the time, I think, to try and understand that world. And I think that's something that it's hard for external coaches to do. Obviously, if you're an internal coach, you understand some of the internal machinations of an organisation. But I think a real value we can bring as external coaches is that if we can really have that insight and understanding of the context our client is working in, and keep a nice distance to be able to take a different perspective, a different position, then that's really useful for the people that we coach. It's like you get my world, but you're not in a way being overly influenced by it, and you can stand separate from it. So I think that's part of the shoulder to shoulder piece that goes on. But I think also it's the acknowledgement and actually, maybe if I say before acknowledging some of the uncertainties, I think often it's about working maybe with some of the expectations people have coming into the coaching as well, that particularly if they've not had coaching before, or they've had a strong relationship with a previous coach, trying to kind of almost let's acknowledge some expectations, but put them to one side and take this for what it is today, right now, and establish the relationship on its own terms. So I think dealing with expectations is important in terms of building the relationship. And then also, I think then it's about acknowledging with your client what it is they are dealing with. So whether that's a relationship issue, it's about their own leadership effectiveness, or, for example, they're transitioning to something else. And I guess bearing witness that isn't always an easy issue to deal with, because otherwise they wouldn't be coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of the shoulder to shoulder is being able to voice and say the things that would be difficult to say outside of the relationship. I think that's fundamentally important. And through that, you can generate a lot of trust, and it allows them to maybe build the capacity to think about their leadership, their personal agency in organizations, and build the capacity to do that in a way that they don't need me eventually. They have built up the muscle to do it themselves. And yeah, that's I guess the getting to the point where we part ways and the work's done.
You get a feeling for that sometimes, don't you? Like that's it now.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes, isn't it?
And it can be hard to call out sometimes because if we're in relationship with our clients, I care for my clients. I really care that they get what they want, not just from their conversations with me, but from what they're trying to achieve professionally and personally. So you become very invested in your clients. But I guess part of our role is to be very conscious of, okay, has the work ran its course? Have we done what we need to do, and asking those questions. So I think reviewing with your clients, making sure they're getting what they want out of the relationship, and has the work been done now at this point? As I said earlier, sometimes not until you get to the end you realise what the goal would have been, that you wish you'd written at the beginning, and asking, have we got there? Is it time to draw this to a close? And of course, I may have some clients that come back to me later because there's something else comes up, and I think that's always a nice testament to the strength of the relationship that was established in the first place. But even at that, I'm always curious as to why. I think it's important to ask the question why re-engage with me, not a different coach, to make sure that the coaching's purposeful. Yeah, and it's not become some kind of other kind of dependency.
Yeah. I think I could talk to you for like another hour. I could just ask you a bunch of questions. I'm really enjoying it. But I guess we've talked about the beginning goals, we've talked about the middle of the relationship, and we've just touched on endings. So that might be a nice place to leave the video for now. But sure. Thank you very much, Gordon.
Great talking to you, William.
Bye for now.
Thanks a lot.